When Adam and Eve were in the garden, God provided. Now, Adam and Eve had to work. They had to do what God told them to do, but everything they put their hands to, God blessed it. It flourished, it multiplied. That's why on Shabbat, when we say the blessing over the bread, which is symbolic of our finances, the blessing is God brings bread from the ground. Well, God doesn't bring bread from the ground. God brings wheat, and we grind it, and we bake it, and we turn into bread. But the teaching is we're not here to eke out a living. We're here to live under the blessing of Jehovah Jireh. Come on, somebody. And so when Adam and Eve disobeyed God, the Bible says, and if I had time, we'd read it. The Bible says he put them out of the garden, and then the next verse is he placed them out of the garden. Now, one of the things that I've learned in studying ancient Jewish wisdom is whenever there is something repeated twice, it's because it's to get your attention that there is a secret there. Let me say it again. When you're reading the Bible, God's not being redundant. He's just, when you see, so why does the Bible say God placed him out of the garden and then God put him out of the garden? Because in that, when you see something repeated twice, God is saying, I've got a secret in that for you. When you read it in Hebrew, it says God physically removed Adam and Eve from the garden. But when he put him out of the garden, it reads in Hebrew, and he divorced himself from all mankind of being Jehovah Jireh. He said, because of your disobedience and you touched what was mine. And this is why it goes into a tenth is the Lord's. And the offering besides. Don't touch that, because the same thing that happened to Adam will happen to you. And so the Bible says he put man out of the garden physically, but spiritually he divorced himself from all mankind of being Jehovah Jireh. And so that they would remember this, instead of the land flourishing with milk and honey, he said he cursed the ground with what? What is it? Thorns and thistles. Now here comes Jesus to not only break the curse, but bring us back to the blessing. And so they're walking with Jesus. They see the thorn bush. The thorn bush is the symbol of the curse on your finances. So they take the thorn bush and they weave it into a crown and they place it on the brow of Jesus. We are cursed by the sweat of Adam's brow. He cursed the land with thorns and thistles, and he said, by the sweat of your brow. In other words, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much you sweat, no matter how much seed you toil, you'll never see the harvest, because I have divorced myself from all mankind, and what you're going to see is thorns and thistles. Have you ever noticed that you can drive along a highway or something and there's a drought going on and the grass is all dead, but the weeds are growing? That's symbolic. And so they take that crown of thorns, the symbol of the curse of poverty, they place it on the brow of Jesus. We have been cursed by the sweat on Adam's brow, but now the curse has been reversed, and now we're redeemed by the blood on Jesus' brow, and the blessing is now bought.